everyone, and welcome to Adobe's Lightroom Stories Live. I'm Julie, and tonight I'm here with vegan food stylist and photographer Bo, also known as Bo's Kitchen, who dishes up insane food photography to her almost 200,000 followers on Instagram. And you guys may have seen Lightroom Stories popping up across your social media, where Bo's already shared a few of her recipes and photography tips with some fab tutorials. Now, we've popped a link in the comments for you to check them out if you haven't seen them already. So, hi, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
It's so lovely to be here. I'm already quite hungry. What are we going to be doing today? I know what we are because I can see them.
Well, today I'm going to be showing you behind the scenes of how I created my salted caramel tarts, how I created the shot. We'll go through some of my styling tips, and then also I'll take it into Lightroom and show you how I edit my pictures to get a consistent look and make them really stand out.
You totally had me at the word salted caramel. I was there already. So over the next hour, Bo's going to be giving us a sneak peek into how she styles, shoots and edits all of her gorgeous plates of food that you can see and use to up your Instagram game. And have you guys, we'll have the chance also to ask Bo anything you like. So just put your questions in the comments, and we're going to give Bo the chance to, you know, she could be happy to answer any questions to do with styling tips and techniques, and even to solve your editing issues. So don't panic though, there's going to be time at the end where we're going to go through as many as we can, so do get your comments in. We are also, on top of all that, as if the fountain of knowledge that is Bo isn't enough, we've actually got a competition for everyone watching. So Bo's put together a fab starter kit, an Instagram starter kit, with some cutlery and props that you can use to style your dishes, plus a year's free Lightroom CC to help get you started to becoming an Instagrammer. All you need to do is to comment and tell us your favourite food to photograph, and we'll be revealing the winner at the end of the stream at around 7:50 p.m. So do stay tuned to the very end to find out if you've won. And the winner will be picked at random from all of the entries, and we'll leave you a comment to let you know how to claim the prize. So again, welcome. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
I kind of want to know what's in an Instagram starter kit. What have you put in there?
It's amazing. So all of my favourite things. So there'll be chopping boards and really nice little bowls and dipping pots. There's cutlery in there, linens as well. So whether you're a newbie or you're an experienced photographer, you're going to love this kit. It's handpicked by myself. So yeah, I really hope someone wins it because it's going to be fantastic.
Well, remember, for your chance to win, just let us know what your favourite food to photograph is in the comments, and good luck. Well, I guess now it's over to you, really. So, Bo, you're going to be obviously talking us through just how you, I mean, I have to say, I have been so hungry all week because all I've been doing is stalking your Instagram page.
Thank you.
You know, for work, obviously. But, no, but honestly, everything you make just looks so fantastic, and I'm so excited really to see how you make it work, because it's like they're here and they look and they smell amazing already, but just the images you make are amazing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. No, it's going to be really good fun actually to go through with you exactly how I set up my shots, because I think a lot of people don't see all the things that go on behind the scenes. So I'm really looking forward to showing you guys a sneak peek of what I do.
Okay, so let's talk us through the plan. Right, what's going to be happening? How do we start?
So start off, I always work from the bottom up. So I have a think about the background and the props I'll be using. What I often do as well is sketch out how I'm going to set out the prop, the set. Okay, so what I'll do is have a rough guideline of where I'm going to place things around the frame and the linen, just to give me a feel for what I'm going to be doing. So you don't want to get to set up and then think, where should I put this? So
I would move like one tart around about 8 different positions, and then half the day's gone.
That's what I end up doing if I don't. So it's really important to do a rough guideline of where you want things to be. So I'll start from the bottom up, and I'll think about the colours I'm using in the shot. So for these tarts, obviously they're quite warm in colour, and I had to think about what colours would contrast with them and bring it out. So I wanted to go for cool and warm tones, because they tend to work really well when you come to edit. You can really make them exciting. So I thought it'd be quite fun to incorporate some blueberries with the tarts, because they'll just pop really nicely against the caramel. So blue and golden tones is what I'm going for. So I've got a nice neutral backdrop here.
Talk us through this as well, because I think, like, if I was to look at your Instagram, I was like, oh my goodness, she's got such beautiful kitchen work surfaces. But it's just wood, right?
Yeah,
painted wood.
Yeah, it's a bit disappointing when you see it, really, but it's cheap. It's cheap, and it doesn't matter if it gets dirty or you scratch it. It kind of adds to it. So yeah, most of my backdrops are things that I've just made myself, or this is an old one that I've then repainted. So just get creative. You might have things around your house like an old piece of metal or a wooden board that you wouldn't think would look good under light, but actually when you start styling it, it will look really special. So yeah, I have a lot of kind of homemade backdrops. But
do you have a really big cupboard?
I have a big room full of props, yeah. So I'll start from the base first. So I've gone for this nice kind of neutral tone backdrop. And it's got blues in it, so I thought I'll kind of theme the other items around it with some blue as well. So I've got this little pot here, which is blue, and the linen is matching. So I'll kind of get these placed where I want them, and obviously we'll work from the bottom up. What I tend to do as well, when I'm placing things in my crop, is work in triangles or follow a rule of third.
Okay.
So
what does that mean for someone who doesn't know anything about photography?
So basically, if you kind of put things all in a line, your eye's just going to look at that and not really focus on anything else. Obviously, it's totally up to you what you do, and some shots I do like to do things quite linear, but if you want to make a really dynamic composition and keep people's interest, try and place things in odd numbers and think about the way the picture flows. So I know, for example, that I'd want these in a little triangle here, and then these popping through on here. So I just try and keep things in odd numbers. So you've got these three here. Yeah. And then just a little one poking at the top. So it's not uniform, and it just creates a little bit more interest. And of course, what you're feeding directly into the computer. You're not actually even looking through the viewfinder to do this. Yeah, exactly. So I normally work tethered, which is really helpful. So it just means that I can put my camera on a tripod and have it connected to my laptop, and that way my hands are totally free. I don't have to keep taking a shot and adjusting and moving around. For me, this is the way I prefer to work. Obviously sometimes I do use the camera in my hands, but I think this gives you the most freedom to make adjustments. You can sort of see the first version of the end product as is kind of thing. Yeah, exactly. So I've got these little layers up here, and then I'm going to put these forks in just to try and make sure they're in position. And what I always try and do as well is give myself breathing room. So wherever I set the camera, I try and make sure that it's not a really tight crop, because I might come to editing and think, actually, I don't want as much of that bowl in there, or I want to see more of that. And if you shoot on a really tight crop, then you've not got much room to change that. So it's just about giving yourself room to make adjustments when you come to edit. And you don't want to do things twice. Exactly, yeah. You want to eat the food as quickly as possible. I am fully with you. So I'll put these here. And as you can see, what I'm trying to do is create different lines throughout the picture. So I want people's eye to kind of start from the bottom and go round in an S shape. So I'll kind of use the linen to complement that as well. I spend a lot of my time faffing around with linen towels. This is a very interesting fold technique here. Yeah, scrumple it up. But yeah, it looks better if you can make things look a bit more scrumpled and more natural. So I'll put these here. And then the little props that I've got around the frame will just not be totally in the frame, but they'll just help to tell the story of the tarts. So what I tend to do is whatever I'm making, I try and have a little pot nearby with some of the ingredients that I've included. So you can see here that obviously the tarts have got buckwheat and oats in the base. So so I'll put some little buckwheat on the side, and I'll use that to decorate, and that'll be part of my little finishing touches to bring it all together. And also it helps to convey to the viewer what it is, without reading the description, and tell a bit more of a story. So I'm quite happy with how these are laid out now. I've got my little pot there. And then I'm going to start dressing these tarts with some caramel. Oh my goodness, I'm very excited about this bit. It is literally just almond butter, dates, and some salt. So I'm just going to do some little dollops there. Oh wow. And it's really important, I think, for me anyway, to include lots of different textures in my work, because otherwise your picture can look quite flat, and it helps to add another layer. I mean, it's a bit like cooking, really, especially if you're baking something and you have a dessert, you want it to have a few different textures within it anyway, just to... Of course, it makes it more appealing, and especially if you're going to be posting on Instagram or any form of social media, you want to have lots of different things to keep people's attention, not just a plain tart with nothing on. So it really helps to do that. And then even when I'm making these little changes to the tarts, I'll try and, again, like I was saying earlier, make sure they're not all uniform. So where I'm putting this little dollop of caramel, I'll make sure that, say, this one goes this way, and maybe that one goes that way. It's only a little change, but then when you view the picture as a whole, it looks more natural. So I'll just try and switch that up to give a bit more interest. And it just helps your eye lead round, you know, if they were all in the same position, it just is too matchy. So I try and make things slightly different. And I think they're really popular, especially on Instagram. A lot of people do kind of toast, flat lays and pancakes and things. And they always seem to get more engagement if you make them all different. So it's just about being really creative and trying to do something that people haven't done before. Oh.
These look so good.
I know.
This is like all of my willpower to not just eat or dip my fingers in things.
Listen, we can finish this big pot of caramel as soon as we've done.
I specified at the start of this job that I got to eat all the leftover ingredients.
Oh yeah.
Do you eat as you go?
I always have a nibble. You've got to have a nibble.
Best job ever. This is great.
And that's why it's not so bad if you make something and it fails. You know, you can just you can test it.
It's for work.
Yeah, of course. And you know, embrace your failures, because if you want to be a foodie, you're going to have a lot of things that don't work out. So just learn how to roll with it.
This is great watching you actually do this live, I have to say.
So yeah, I'll pop another bit on here. And then what I'm going to do is just slowly add up layers. So 9 times out of 10, if you're shooting and you think, oh, there's just something missing in my picture and it just doesn't look special, it's probably because you've not got enough layers.
Okay.
And what I mean by a layer is, you know, the background is a layer, the towel is a layer, the tarts have the caramel on, which is another layer, then the buckwheat. So it's just about adding a few more things and toppings. Obviously, I love toppings.
It's a little bit like actually when you edit in photographic terms, where you have like different layers on top of each other.
Yeah.
Similar. Yeah.
Same thing, yeah. So you're just building up the shot like that slowly. So just amend that here.
Do you have any kind of favourite colours you like to work with?
I love bright colours, pinks, blues. Yeah, I'd say they're my favourite. I really like this combination, to be honest, because I think you can really make it look magical once you come to edit it, because cool and warm tones is such a nice contrast.
Yeah.
So I went through a phase of doing lots of blue pictures, and I think I'm going through that again now. It's really nice.
Do you find like sort of you have your own little trends?
Totally, yeah. Like a lot of people will kind of plan their content around you know, what food is popular at the moment, but I really like thinking about what colours I want to use. So I'll think, right, I'm really in a red mood today, so I'll make something red. That's just how it works for me. I really enjoy that.
Is it also like, I mean, how do you pick the recipes as well? Like every day when you're shooting, how do you decide?
It's literally just what I want to eat.
I love this. This is so good. Like, I'm really hungry. I really fancy something salted caramel. Right, that's what we're doing.
It is like a dream job, to be fair, because it's something I'm going to have to eat every day for the rest of my life. So.
Oh, what a shame.
So we've got the little bucchinis on here, as I call them, the little buckwheat things. And what I'll do is just sprinkle a few around naturally as to where they would fall if I was doing it kind of haphazardly.
I love this. You do it really neatly, and then you make
and
it
then
look
I make
like
a mess.
Yes.
Yeah. But if I did do it messy, they probably just wouldn't fall in the right place. So.
That's true.
But it's just making it look more real. So pop those on there, and then next layer will be the little blueberries.
Okay.
Again, trying to avoid doing things uniform. It's easy to get, you know, all the same size blueberries and think, oh well, they look really neat to do it like that. But actually, it looks more interesting to make everyone slightly different and do different sizes of blueberries. So, as well as these different size blueberries, I've also got some chopped up ones.
Oh, next level blueberry.
Yeah, which I painstakingly chopped up. But you know, again, it just creates more texture. Yeah, it is. Not going to lie,
I mean, be honest.
It's easier with a kiwi.
What are some of your favourite foods, and what do you really like taking pictures of?
Well, no surprise to everyone's sweet stuff. Obviously, I love sweet things. I do eat savoury food.
Just so you know.
Yeah, I do. But I just think you've got more freedom to kind of experiment with colour and textures. And, you know, when it comes to summertime, I like using little edible flowers and things.
And then you can eat it at the end. That would be my deciding factor.
Yeah, I do eat a lot of sweet stuff, and I like sweet at breakfast. So definitely I enjoy sweet more because I think it suits my style. But again, it's what works for you, because some of my friends absolutely loathe shooting sweet things.
Really? Okay.
And they love savoury. So it's just, I think it's really important that whatever you do, it's something that you actually enjoy. Don't force yourself to shoot a picture because you think it'll be popular or other people will like it. If it will show. So it has to be something that you're naturally passionate about.
And I think, you know, for this kind of level of detail as well, like you've got to be really enjoying the food and what it is to want to kind of get it to this kind of level of sort of perfection,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I always say, you know, my belly is the inspiration to my shots. What I want to eat is what I'm going to make, because I know I'll be passionate about it and I really want to eat it.
That's good advice. That's very good advice.
So yeah, so I'll pop these on here. And obviously, as I was doing this shot, I was thinking, what other colours will contrast, because it's very blue and golden. So that's why I thought I'll put a little garnish of some mint leaves on as well.
Yeah.
Just to create a bit more contrast when we come to edit.
So when you're sketching this beforehand, how detailed does it get?
Not very detailed.
Is it more just like the kind of the angles?
Yeah, it's just a layout of where the chopping board will be, for example, where the tarts will be placed, and then I might make a rough note of what colours I'm going to accentuate in the shot, so what backdrops I use and things. So it's not exact at all. So these are looking really nice now, and I'm just making sure I use different size blueberries and placing them at different angles. It's just to avoid creating anything that's too uniform, because again, that's what's going to keep people's attention. Even though it's tempting to do them all the same and make it matchy-matchy, which I'm sure if you're in a restaurant or something, it'd be great, but if you're creating a food photo...
They're like little works of art. I love it.
I like doing lots of things in a different way, so I'll put these on here.
This is looking fantastic. I'm like, honestly, I've just eaten dinner, but I am so hungry.
Always got always space for sweet stuff.
Always, it's a different stomach.
So what I'll do again with these blueberries is just make sure that I've got a few scattered around too, because that will just add a few more pops of colour to the picture, which will be really nice when we come to edit. So just layering these all up now. Another thing to do is create kind of different spaces between things. So try again not to make it too matchy, because again that looks quite rigid and, you know, like you've planned it too much. So try and put them in slightly different positions, because you want it to look natural, obviously pretty too, but natural. Yeah.
Oh, that's looking so good.
Okay, so now we'll pop these little mint leaves on.
Do you sometimes just I would make like a spare one to eat while I did this, like, so I'd be like, I need 6 for the shot.
Well, this is where recipe testing comes in. So, you know, fortunately I nearly always fail at the first thing I make, so I can be eating them while I'm shooting the next one. But yeah, a good tip is never start styling while you're hungry.
Yeah.
So I've done that many a time, and then there's just nothing left,
Yeah.
So you see, adding these little bits of green just creates another little bit of colour, and it's another layer and another texture, and it gives us, you know, something else we can bring out in Lightroom in a bit. And I'll just pop a few of these around as well.
Just when you think they couldn't get any more tasty, like ridiculous next level stuff.
And as well, when I'm placing the blueberries on here, I'll make sure I use different size blueberries rather than them all being the same, because it's too matchy-matchy. And again, just place them as they would kind of naturally fall.
What's your all-time favourite thing that you've done for your Instagram?
Oh, my all-time favourite thing? That's a really good question. I made a blueberry loaf cake last year. Yeah. And it did really well, but I really love the picture because it's my kind of colours. And it was similar to this, actually, blueberries and then like a warm kind of banana bread. And it was really fun to edit, and it was really tasty, and the recipe worked right the first time. It's a very rare thing. So yeah, I'd definitely say that blueberry loaf cake was my favourite.
I mean, how many iterations of your recipes do you think you go through?
I'd say at least 2 for most things.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes it's right first time. So it just depends really, and I think as the more you practice, you'll know kind of what recipes work. And for these, for example, I've got lots of existing tart recipes. So to make a new recipe, I would use one of my old recipes and then just change a few of the ingredients, and that stops you from kind of starting from scratch again.
I suppose it's a little bit the same with the kind of photography side as well. You know, you kind of like, you start with sort of your kind of basic version of what you want to do, and each time you do it, you sort of improve on it or make it a little bit better, like most things, I suppose, yeah?
Exactly, yeah, and photography is all about that, and styling. It's about practicing and not being afraid to mess things up. If it looks rubbish, then you can still learn something from it. So it's just about embracing the failures, because you will have a lot of them, and I still do to this day, even though I think I know a bit more about what I'm doing. There's still thousands of pictures that no one will ever see. So
sad loaves.
yeah, but it teaches you to be patient, and it helps you, you know, just stay focused and keep practicing, and just, like I say, learn to embrace when things go wrong, because you can always learn something from it.
And like, you know, like Lightroom is especially, you know, designed to sort of like grow with you, so you can start off quite simple on it, just changing a few simple things, and then kind of add to it as you go along.
Like I've been using Lightroom for about 3 years now, and I've never kind of looked at a tutorial to find out how to use the settings. It's very intuitive, and you'll be able to pick it up really quickly. But it's just that thing that takes your photos to the next level. I'd be lost without it, to be honest.
This is looking so good. Oh my goodness.
Thank you. Yeah, no, really, really nice. And as you can see, like, because I'm tethered up, it gives me that freedom to think where are things placed, and that's how I can make sure they're exactly as I want them.
It's because like the buckwheat almost looks like little kind of like chings of light, like little sparkles.
Yeah, and then when you come to highlight that later, they'll really stand out. So I think we've about got enough little toppings here. But it's just
how do you know when to stop? That's the question.
Oh, I know. Well, they often say, don't they, like even if you're getting ready and you're putting accessories on, like take the last thing off.
Yeah, with me it's usually 3 things, just in case.
So I'd say it's similar with food styling, but normally for me, I'd say like 2 or 3 layers on top of the dish I'm preparing will really be adequate. Another thing I'll do as well is when I'm putting these layers on is just have a look around the picture and see if it's balanced. So if I've got lots of blues over here and maybe not a blueberry in the corner, it just doesn't really sit right. So it's just about making sure that everything's kind of working in harmony together, and you've got enough green scattered around as well. So you can see how I've placed like 3 little leaves here. Maybe I need a few more little. I love my little sprinkles.
Yeah.
Toppings on everything. Okay.
What do you do if the linen doesn't want to stay though?
Oh, you just have to keep like fiddling around with it until you get there. But you will do. That's why I use kind of old linens and I don't iron them, because then you just get more natural creases.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think this is about right now.
Wow. I mean, that looks great, as is.
Yeah, no, it really does. And obviously, if you have more time, you can spend time playing around with it. But that's why it's really important to kind of do a rough sketch before, because then, you know where things are placed. You're not going to have to move it when you do get the linen in place.
Yeah, I think like linens, everything is dictated by the whims of some fabric.
I know. Right, lovely. So I'm quite happy with that now. I think let's just have a look. Let's have a little bit more of a mint leaf here. Perfect. So I've got, like, as you can see on the tarts, I've got some of the little cut blueberries and the regular ones, and they're all different shapes. So hopefully people will look at it and their eye will keep darting around the picture and picking up different things within the tart. Even though they've all got the same things on, they're all slightly different.
Yeah. It looks amazing, babe.
Oh. Thank you.
It looks so good.
Okay.
So I think would you say you're probably about, are you kind of satisfied? Do you think we can shoot it now?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think we can.
I'm keen to see like the next phase.
Okay, perfect. So obviously normally I do shoot with my camera, but I love the fact that I can shoot on my phone as well, because you can actually download Lightroom CC on your phone, and it's got almost all the same functions as the desktop.
Yeah.
So we'll just go into that now.
And it's great as well because obviously, you know, a DSLR is a big investment, and if you're kind of just starting out, you don't want to kind of outlay a huge, you want to make sure it's something that you're going to enjoy doing before kind of investing in like a large scale camera and setup and stuff.
For sure, yeah, and I spent 2 years just shooting with a phone and a white table, so I spent a long time practicing without any professional equipment.
Oh, interesting.
And you can, because you can learn a lot about composition and textures and layering and rule of thirds, and you can do all of that without a camera. So don't be put off if you've only got a phone and you can't afford to get a camera or any equipment. You can just start with a phone and that's it.
Because you shoot a lot in natural light, don't you?
Yes, yeah. So I normally will only shoot in natural light because I find it gives the most flattering look to the food. So if you've got a big window somewhere, try and shoot near that, or have a look around the house, because often light changes throughout the day as well.
Yeah.
So in my house, for example, in the morning it's very, very blue, and then later on as it goes through the day it gets warmer. So it's just about knowing where you're working, and maybe just for a day take a note of how the light changes throughout the day. Or
try some little test pictures and see what happens and see what works and how it affects the photographs.
Definitely. And another misconception is that when it's really bright and sunny outside, that's the best time to take a photo.
No. Have you taken a picture of yourself in bright daylight?
Yeah, it's not flattering.
Not flattering.
No. So kind of morning or like mid-afternoon is best, when the sun's not so high in the sky. And also if it's a cloudy day, that's really good because it acts as a natural diffuser for the light. So experiment, play around. Like I know my house and I'll know where to go at certain times.
3 o'clock. I need to be in the drawing room.
I can shoot on the table at this time. Yeah. So I'm just going to take this now with my phone, and I'll just do much the same that I would do with my camera. Just make sure I'm leaving myself a bit of breathing room.
Yeah.
And again, if you're using a phone, you can hold down where you want the light to focus.
Yeah.
And I always take a few shots just so once it's transferred into Lightroom, I can pick the best one.
We've all taken selfies, we know. You never just take one. Never accept your first offer.
Yep, so I'm happy with those now. So if you've got Lightroom on your phone, it will just automatically update, so it will go to the cloud and it will come through straight away. So,
oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So we've got this on here. So the first thing I'll do is crop it and get the crop right, because I don't want to spend time editing if, you know, I'm not going to actually have it in the frame at the end. So I'll get my crop right. And like I said about giving yourself enough breathing room, it really helps to do that, because when you come to crop you can turn it round, or you can see actually I want the fork this way. Love a jaunty angle. Okay. Because it just helps, again, lead your eye around the picture and snake it round. So
that looks great.
Another thing is, you know, try and just have things peeking out of the frame. When I started, I'd just make sure that, you know, you could see the whole bowl of blueberries, but I think that looks a bit forced, so it tells more of a story if things are just out of the frame.
It also implies that there's something else going on outside. But what is it? What else is happening outside the picture that we don't know about?
Exactly that. So the next thing I'll do is go to my light settings, and I'll increase the exposure on here. And also the contrast, just a little bit, just to make things pop.
Yeah.
Another thing I like to do is play with the shadows and the highlights.
Okay.
So if you increase the shadows, pull the slider to the right, that will decrease the shadows, and then highlights, reduce those down. What it does is just give you a bit more detail. As you can see more detail on the blueberries and on top of the tarts. And if you pull the highlights down, it means that you're not blowing anything out, so everything's still in focus.
Okay. Oh, we have some questions there. So
great.
One, which is, I'm just starting out in food photography. What's the main thing to be aware of?
Oh,
like what's some of the big errors that people make?
I think it's really important to just find out what you like, rather than, it's easy, especially on Instagram, you're flooded with pictures all the time. Like, find out what your style is and what motivates you, because it's easy to just think, oh, that's an amazing picture, I'm going to copy it. But it's important that you have your own style, because if you don't, you'll just look like everybody else. So I think the best thing to do is take note of pictures you like. Maybe look on Pinterest, Instagram, food magazines, cookbooks. Have a look at your favourite photos and analyse why you like them.
That's a really good idea, because if you save stuff on Instagram or Pinterest and just whatever you like, and then maybe go back like after a couple of weeks and be like, oh my goodness, I am obsessed with bread. Why are these all of bread? I didn't realise I had a bread thing, but I have a bread thing.
Carb life.
Yeah, carb life for real, yeah.
So yeah, I think that's really good, because then if you see photos you like, look at them and think, well, why do I like it? Is it the colours I like? Is it the texture? Is it the mood? Is it the lighting? And then you can take those elements and try and emulate them in your own pictures. So that would be the most important thing.
Okay. And someone's asking as well, what camera do you use?
I use a Canon 6D, and I've used that for the past 2 years. Before that I had a really low range kind of Canon 1200D, and I always use a 50mm fixed lens as well. So most cameras, when you buy them, they'll come with a variable.
But you want to spend because you can have a great camera, you want to have like a decent lens for it.
The lens is actually more important than the camera body.
This is very true.
So yeah, most food photographers will say 50mm lens will do pretty much anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, Canon 6D is normally what I use.
Okay.
Okay, right, so highlights, we've brought that down. remove some of the shadows, and then what I'm going to do is increase the whites, and that really helps just to make it brighter without lightening up everything.
Yeah.
And it's another way to improve the contrast of your picture without changing everything. It's kind of more targeted.
Oh yeah, that looks really poppy now.
Yeah. So next thing I'll go to is my favourite, the colour.
Oh, it can get a bit weird.
Yeah, it can get a bit weird. What I'm going to do is try and make sure that this is quite blue, because obviously we've got blueberries and we've got a bit of a blue theme. So I'll just turn the temperature down a little bit. And also I like to add a little bit of a pink tint as well.
Okay.
Because I think that adds a bit of warmth without making it too yellow.
Mm-hmm.
And then the vibrance. Some people prefer to use saturation. If you can see here, if you turn the saturation up, the colours start to look a bit unnatural. So I tend to even reduce the saturation a little bit and increase the vibrance, because it kind of makes them brighter without changing the actual colour. So I'll do that.
Yeah, don't forget as well, just to remind you, of course, of the competition that we have going on for your Instagram starter kit, and of course a whole year of Lightroom CC. Yeah, let us know what food you love to shoot and why in the comment section, and you could be in with the chance of winning. And if none of you enter, I'm having it. Because
or me, I need more props.
You said you've already got a full cupboard. You're not allowed
but
anymore.
there's always space for more. Okay, so I will also do selective colour, which is...
That's way more dicey even than saturation, because that can go really weird.
It can, but I love the fact that it's targeted, so you can make adjustments just to the blueberries and not make everything really bright.
Okay, because actually, yeah, because it's not just kind of like one thing. You can kind of like choose the colour, but then mess with the different settings within that.
Yes.
Right.
So I've gone to the selective colour, and I'm going to increase the saturation of the blueberries.
Because normally, like when you get that option, it usually just has like one slider. And then it makes everything look weird.
Yeah.
You're like, why am I magenta?
Yeah.
Nobody needs to be magenta, okay?
And you want people to know what the food is, so you want to try and stay true to form if you can. Obviously, unless that's your style, but for me, I still want them to look like blueberries. So I've just made them a little bit bluer here. And then I'll go to the greens. So I really like this tool, because especially if you've got some kind of herbs that are a bit old or going a bit yellowy, you can make them greener and look fresher with Lightroom.
Old produce.
Yes. So I'm going to change the hue of the green a little bit. Normally I try and make the greens a little bit bluer. I just think it looks really flattering. And increase the saturation a little bit. And you can see that's creating some really nice contrast now.
Oh, wow.
And
That'd be really pinging.
Yeah, so I'll just show you where we're at now, before and after so far.
Oh yeah, look at the difference, because obviously the blueberries and the greens are quite deep and quite dark, and with the caramel sauce, it's sort of like, actually if I look at that really quickly, it just kind of looks like, oh, there's like a dark bit on the top, but when you
can't see anything.
But now I can literally see all of the finer details.
It makes such a difference.
It really
it's
does.
Really good. And then the orange, obviously that's the main look of the picture. I want to have a nice contrast between the blues and the orange, so I'll probably make the oranges a little bit warmer.
How much longer is it before we can eat them?
I know.
Oh my goodness.
I've been waiting so long.
Like everything you do just makes it more tasty.
Well, that's the idea, isn't it? So, you know, you want it to look as delicious as possible.
Oh my goodness. So we've also got another question. So where do you get your inspiration for your daily posts? Is it just your tummy?
It is, yeah. And obviously, also, I have loads of amazing friends. The Instagram community is fantastic, and we all really support each other. I feel really blessed to be a part of it, and there's so many great people on there, and there's a lot of trends on Instagram. So,
what's hot right now?
Hot right now? Oh, still toast is so popular.
Really?
Yeah.
Toast?
Avo toast. It just won't go away. People just love avo toast. But I think right now on Instagram, there's a tend to kind of go back to more real food. For me, I love styling, so I don't think I'm ever going to just be able to do a close-up of, you know, brown noodles. But it's really popular. It's really popular at the moment, because I think people want real, accessible meal ideas, and that's great, and I love that. You know, I follow a lot of accounts that are like that, but as I said before, it's about finding what you love. Because if you don't love it and you're just trying to copy someone else, it's going to come through in your work. So for me, this is what I love, so I'm going to keep doing this.
I don't think you should stop, because honestly, these look incredible.
Perfect. So, I mean, that's what you can achieve on your mobile.
And I mean, I was interrupting you quite a lot. You probably could have done that in about 45 seconds.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's so simple. It's amazing. So I'm really pleased with that actually, but I'll show you on the desktop some of the other things you can do which you can't do on the phone as well.
We did have a question about what happens if you're in low light situations. What do you do then?
Oh, well, change your camera. If you've got a camera, try and adjust your settings, so get used to what they do. So you can increase the ISO. Obviously shutter speed, if you've got a tripod, really, really essential, because if you don't have a tripod, you have to shoot at a higher shutter speed, which is going to make you prone to shake and things on the camera. So try and invest in a tripod, especially if you've got a camera. And if you're in low light situations, you could use reflector, bounce board. Also, I find when it's later on in the day, darker backdrops work well in low light. So I'd never try and shoot, you know, something on a white marble backdrop, for example, later in the day, because you're just not going to get the white balance right.
Well, I think because the cameras tend to assume that the largest surface area is grey. So, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like especially if you're using auto settings.
Yeah.
So if you've either got a light one or a dark one, that can actually affect how it uses its settings within that, I think.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's just about making sure that you get your photo as close as possible to how you want it before you go in and edit it. So here we've got it on the desktop. So I'll just do much the same that I did on the phone really. Again, it's really intuitive. You've got all the same controls here.
And it's, you know, if you've never used, you know, Lightroom before, it's play. I think that's the easiest way to learn anything. It's just to play with it and see what all these different things mean.
And it's so much fun. Like, I just really enjoy it. You know, I can sit and edit for hours on end. It's like a form of meditation for me. I just really love it. And you can get so many different looks with it as well. You know, if everyone shot these tarts, I'm sure they'd all put a slightly different edit on it because everyone's got their own style.
So look how pingy all the colours are.
Yeah, so amazing. So I'll just get the base of those right first. And then the tool you can do extra in here, which is really cool, is the adjustment brush.
Okay.
So what this does will show you, it will enable you to select just specific areas of the picture.
Okay, so just to like stipulate, you're not weirdly colouring all this in red.
I'm not changing them to red, no.
Okay,
this is just a tool overlay, so kind of like that magic glue you can get that's purple when you put it on. It's like
so
that.
You can just see what's going to stick.
Yeah, you can just see a guide. So what I normally do for all my pictures is colour them in, the bits that I want people to focus on, because then when you've done all of this, you can make adjustments just to the tarts and the areas you want to improve. So again, this is a really useful tool to making sure that the viewer's attention is just on the tarts and not on anything else.
Because, you know, obviously, if you're changing like the kind of hue and like the different kind of colours, that changes everything. So like all of a sudden your white background's going to start looking really weird.
Exactly. So almost like I did with the photo, you're working in layers and you're working from the bottom up. So with this one, I edited everything in the background first, and then I will come on top and do this little tool here, this adjustment brush, just to highlight all of these. It's not essential, not everyone does it, but I just think it helps to make them pop a little bit more out of the picture. And you can, obviously, with the brush, you can change the size really easily, and I can pick up all these little blueberries here. So what I don't want to do is just highlight the tarts, and then I make adjustments to the blueberries, but then these ones look different. So I just highlight these. And then what we can do is just remove this tool so we can actually have a look at how that's all coming together. So, right, so now, as you can see, we can just make specific adjustments to the tarts.
Oh, wow.
So I'm just making some slight adjustments to make those blueberries stand out more.
Yeah. I mean, it really is just about kind of like playing and seeing, you know.
Yeah, so look, you can change the blue and you can make them bluer or warmer.
Oh, yeah.
We don't want it too much, otherwise it's going to look unnatural. But you see, if we only did it on the tarts, then these blues in the little bowl would look uneven as well. So I'm just going to make this crop a little bit smaller as well.
So we've got another question which says, do you edit each photo with the same kind of filters? So for this one, obviously, because of these particular colours, I mean, I presume you might save it as a preset. That's something you could do. So
yeah, definitely. You can actually do presets on the desktop version, which I do use. So it's just down here. So if I've got all of these settings and I think, right, I'm really happy with these settings, it's looking good now, you can actually just add a new preset. So you can just save it here and just create a new one. So I can just pop that in there.
Give it a name.
Blueberry, or because then I know next time I'm shooting blueberries, then this will be really flattering for them. So you can create your own filters for food, which is really useful. Obviously, you have to change it each time, depending on the light, but it just gives you a good basis, and it helps to create consistency in your feed as well.
And because also, you know, I mean, you know, someone who hasn't used the app before, they're sort of thinking, or used the desktop before, they're thinking like, oh, I've got to go through like 12 things, and she went up 10 on this one and down 5 with that, and actually that seems like quite a lot. So once you've actually just found it, then you can kind of skip ahead,
and there's no set rule, you know, there's no magic number, and everyone has their own different way of styling, and the beauty is there's loads of different ways to achieve the same effect. So I'd just say just play around with it and experiment, because there's never this, I don't use the same settings for every photo. Even if I use a preset, I'll still make further adjustments on that. So I'd just say just keep playing with it, and you'll find a way that, you know, complements your food the best.
Don't forget, we've still got our competition going on, so you'll be able to win Bo's gorgeous starter kit of props to kickstart your photo styling adventures. All you need to do is post a comment telling us your favourite food to photograph, and we'll be announcing the winner at the very end of the show. I'm so, like, I was hungry before, but now I'm getting extra hungry. What do you do with all, like, when you've made all this food? Do you eat, okay, so you have to make 6 tarts. You can't eat all 6. What do you do with them?
Well, I probably could.
I mean, we all could, whether we should.
Yeah, you know, I can have tarts for breakfast. Any time's good for a tart. I can eat sweet food at any time, but no, I have a neighbour that's very hungry. He gets fed well. So yeah, and I have friends as well, so I don't really have any problem with that. And also I have a big freezer, so anything I don't use I'll put in there, because I really can't bear food waste.
I mean, because you shoot every day?
Yeah.
So you don't even like block shoot ahead of time, or?
No, because I don't want to have waste, and I live on my own, so I don't want to be swamped with food, which is another reason why I try and create something I actually want to eat, because then I know I'm going to eat it and I'm not going to have loads of leftovers. So yeah, I try and shoot every day, and that's something I've done for the past 4 years.
Wow.
Because I just think even if it doesn't go well and you mess up, like I said, you can still learn from it, and I'll know next time, okay, that didn't work, so I won't do that. So practicing is key.
We've got another question here. What made you begin a career in food photography? Like, what's your journey? How did it happen?
So I didn't actually plan this at all.
I mean, did that many people plan? I suppose some people do plan to be Instagrammers, but it sort of seems like something people kind of accidentally like do for fun and then fall into.
That's exactly what happened to me, and it started out as a passion, but I think that's why I've been able to make it a job, because it is actually my passion. It's not that I set out to become an Instagrammer, or, you know, I'm not really like that. You know, I'm not a selfie person, and it's just kind of happened naturally. So I feel really blessed, because I'm going to have to eat every day for the rest of my life.
Oh, what a shame. What a shame indeed. But I mean, when you originally started, were you like working doing something else, and you kind of did in your spare time, or did you just go all in? Like, what did you do?
Yeah, no, so I've been doing this for the last 4 years, and I was working full time for the first 2 years, and I was shooting pictures on my lunch break.
What?
Or before work. Obviously they weren't very good at that point, but it was still practice, and I was using my phone. So I did it alongside my full-time job. I never kind of just left and thought, I'm just going to wing it and see how it goes. So yeah, it's just that consistency of doing it that eventually I've built up enough work to be able to leave my full-time job. So yeah, it's been a really fun journey.
What was the moment that you were like, oh my goodness, I'm like properly an Instagrammer now? Was there a moment?
I think maybe when I hit like 10,000 followers.
Yeah.
That was, or maybe even 5,000. Like, I remember the day that I did, and I remember the first time I got over 100 likes on my post, and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. It was amazing. So yeah, I think that's when I thought, hang on, maybe I could actually do this full time.
Oh wow, that must have been, I would say celebrate with cakes, but there's always cakes going on. Okay, I've got another question here. If I don't have a lot of natural light in my house, what can I do to get good lighting?
I mean, you must have some windows in your house.
I mean, unless they live in like some weird basement or
Yeah,
somewhere.
hopefully you don't.
I mean, you can get daylight bulbs, but it's not.
You can. I mean, some people
same.
get on really well with artificial lights. I don't want to spend the money on more equipment because I've already got no space for props and stuff. So I don't want to use it for that reason. But yeah, you could use artificial lighting, or you could maybe try shooting outside, perhaps with a diffuser, and you could make a little space there for you to do, or ask friends and neighbours if you could shoot there. But I'd say in most cases, if you want to do this long term, find a space in your house, and even if it's only a small window, like I don't have any north or south facing windows, and traditionally they're supposed to be the best windows for light, but I don't have any, and I've managed fine. So it's working with what you've got, using bounce boards, reflectors, even just a piece of white card. It will really help you to be able to manipulate the light that you've got.
Yeah, I think also I'd really like to talk to you a little bit about your props. So you've got those really amazing heart-shaped wooden spoons. Okay, I've looked everywhere. I can't see them. Where did you get them from?
There's these really nice Russian twins that I found on Instagram. They're two brothers in Russia, and they just make beautiful furniture and chopping boards and all kinds of things out of wood. And I saw some spoons on their page and messaged them. Beauty of Instagram. And then, you know, next thing I know, I could buy some, and I had them in the post. So.
Wow. So okay, we don't have to go to Russia. That would be quite a long distance to go and like get some
they'll
spoons.
post them to you. Yeah. So yeah, do that. I've got a lot of spoons though, so I don't need any more temptation to get any more.
Like going around homeware stores with you must be a long process.
Oh, it's a nightmare. Like I don't really enjoy any other kind of shopping other than prop shopping. So yeah, it's my favourite thing.
Some brass cutlery over here. Oh my god.
Yeah,
it's just
or
be
even
4 hours.
old cutlery as well. You know, that's another great tip if you're just starting out. Old kind of vintage cutlery looks best, so you can look on other websites, eBay or anything like that, and just find, you know, like a bundle of stuff that people have just cleared out from somebody's house. It's probably only a few pounds, but you'll find some really nice forks and props and things in there, so that's a cheap way of doing it.
Or an even easier way is to enter the competition. So
Even
that's beautiful
easier.
segue there. So yeah, don't forget to hit us up in the comments about the favourite food you like to photograph, and you could win that incredible starter bundle and of course a year's membership to Lightroom CC, which as you can see is super worth it because my goodness, this is wow, I'm like completely blown away by just how incredible this is.
It's really popping now. Another tool that I just wanted to show you guys was the tone curve.
Okay.
And this basically, in a nutshell, shows you kind of where the dark, like the shadows and the blacks and the lights in your picture are. So you can see here, I've not got many blacks because it's quite low here. And then it kind of peaks at the end here because there's lots of bright colours. And what you can do is put some little points on this line and you can pull them. And you can see it will change the contrast in the picture.
Oh, wow, okay.
So obviously too much and you're going to kind of blow out the detail and lose some things. So I'll just add a slight tone curve. Again, it just creates a bit more of a dynamic image and makes it pop a little bit more, just ever so slightly. So yeah, that's another really good tool that I'll use. Another one you can use, which is really handy if you make a mess, is the healing brush.
Oh yeah.
So say for example, like there's a little mark here. You can actually just hover it over there and it will pull a piece of the background next to it to there.
So it's like a little bit, is it the same as cloning or is it slightly different?
You can have it to clone the area or it can heal it. So it can guess what colours you would want to be there, or you can actually clone it and it will pull an exact piece of the background next to it. So I wanted to remove that little mark and you can see it's gone now. So you can even do that, say if you put too many sprinkles somewhere, I don't want this there.
See, but now your editing process is getting even more crazy.
Yeah, but you know,
I mean, it saves you having to reshoot the whole thing, which is...
yeah, exactly. So that's a really useful tool as well. But no, I'm really happy with that now. I think that's all popping really nicely.
That looks amazing, because now actually you can see all of the detail around the edge of the crust of the tart as well. Like, we couldn't really, I mean, you could sort of see it before, but yeah.
So that's the original.
Because you can always see like the caramel and that is like mixing together, and then now it's like, boom.
Yeah. So I'll just go back to there.
And if you guys have got any questions, we've only got like a few more minutes to go actually of the live stream. So don't forget to hit us up in the comments and let us know, because the time is running out. Time is running out. Oh my goodness.
Okay, so I'm just going to try and get this back to what I was editing before.
We can just hit to the preset maybe. There you go.
Oh yeah.
There you go. See, this is why presets are great.
Here we go.
Blueberry. There you go.
Yeah.
See, look, you thought you couldn't find it, and then
exactly.
boom. See?
The preset saved us.
Preset saved us. And then, of course, you can actually move the presets that you saved on desktop to your mobile app as well, so they're there.
Yes, so once you've amended them on here, you can move it to your phone, and then you've just got that always on the go as well.
So easy.
It's
that
super
makes
easy.
life so easy.
Yeah, it's all synced up, so I really like the fact that I can have it on my phone. So it just means if I'm out and about and I need to edit a picture quickly, it's all there.
Can actually, you know, get out of the house.
Yeah.
Stop chasing around windows.
Stop trying to eat loads of food to myself.
Well, I mean, don't stop doing that. That's the best bit.
Yeah. So it looks really, really awesome.
Is there anything that you haven't made yet? Like, what's on the agenda for this year? Is there any kind of things that you're thinking about doing that you haven't done yet in terms of food?
Yeah, I want to do more savoury.
Okay.
Because it's outside my comfort zone. I don't just want to do sweet things all the time. So I'm trying to do one savoury post.
I mean, salted caramel has salt in it, right?
It's sort of savoury. Tahini's in the hearts. That's savoury.
Yeah. So more savoury.
More savoury and more things that I find difficult to shoot. So burgers.
That's really hard though.
Really difficult for me. Some people love shooting burgers, but I think it's really important to do more things that I'm scared of.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely doing more foods that aren't as pretty. I would really like to do that.
Bread, that's quite hard.
Yeah, but again, toast. You
quite
can make that
long.
look really pretty.
Yeah, this is true.
But yeah, brown foods are very difficult actually to style. So
yeah.
making those pretty is something that I think is worth working on.
Yeah. Are you constantly asked to make things for friends, families, weddings?
Yeah, a lot of people always saying, have you got any spare food, or what recipe can I have for this? And obviously I'm more than happy to oblige because I'm a feeder.
It's like literally the perfect job for you.
Yeah, exactly.
So we actually have another question here. Is all of your photography top down, or do you use other angles?
I use other angles, so I think it's about working out what's flattering for the food. So for this one, I did take some of the shots from the side as well, but that was when I had sliced the tart open, because then you want to see the filling. But for this main shot, I think it's really pretty if you can actually see all of the details.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I believe we have a competition winner. So thank you to everyone who's been sending all of their questions in. And would you like to give us the envelope, please? It's very... I don't think it's an envelope. I think it's just...
Oh, it's an envelope.
Yes. Would you like to read out the winner?
Okay. The winner is, picked at random selection, the Zesty Lime. I actually know you. Thank you so much. And yeah, her answer was, I love photographing pancake or waffle stacks for those epic syrup pouring shots. Totally agree.
The thing is, though, you just have to eat it straight away after you've done it, because then they all get soggy. They can't stay for too long.
Exactly. It's a hard life being a foodie. But yeah, pancake or waffles, I would say they're probably my favourite thing as well.
Really?
Yeah.
What are some of the ones that you've done? How have you made them a bit different?
Again, flat lays, and I'll do lots of different types of toppings. That's my favourite thing to do, because I could just spend hours doing that. But yeah, like my friend said, if you do pouring shots, that gets a really nice action shot, and you can get really lovely drizzle on the front of the pancakes as well. So they're just a really versatile thing to shoot. Same with waffles. You could do waffle sandwiches, do waffle flat lay from the side. So yeah, they're really nice because they're just kind of vessels for decorating, like toast would be, or crackers. So I think that's a really good place to start if you're just getting into food styling and photography.
Well, also, then you can go savoury, because you can have like crepes as well, and actually like a lot of pancakes, you know, so you could start off like, you know, kind of slightly moving into the savoury with a little bit of sweet.
Exactly, yeah. So, and they can be savoury and sweet. Same with toast, you can do savoury and sweet. And I think although those things are basic, and probably they are on Instagram a lot, it's a really good thing to start with, because then you can kind of develop your own style and find out what you like.
Yeah. How are you not just constantly hungry all the time? We've just been talking about food for like an hour, and I just, we need to start eating.
Yeah, I am hungry all the time.
So anything else coming up for you this year? Like anything else you're going to be doing that's going to be kind of cool?
Yeah, hopefully I will be doing a cookbook by the end of the year, and an app.
Ooh,
which is really
interesting.
super exciting.
That's very exciting.
So keep posted, because I've got a lot going on this year. So that's those are my two main things that I've got coming up. Can't wait.
Oh, that's really exciting. I've just got like one or two more kind of questions just before we kind of get to the end. So what's your advice for beginner photographers?
Beginner photographers, just start basic.
Yeah.
You know, just get a few neutral props and backdrops and dishes, and just get like a small kind of capsule collection of props, and then just work with those and keep changing the placement. Like these props I've used here today, I can do all kinds of shots with them and make them look different by using different foods and different angles and things. So start small. Like I said, I only started with a white table and a phone. So there's no reason why you can just start with the equipment you've got and just work on your composition and on your lighting before you're worrying about getting heart-shaped spoons and quinoa pops. You know, that will come later. Just work on the basics.
You'll get obsessed later.
Yeah, that will come later. Yeah.
What would you say is the most popular post you've ever done? What was the most popular thing on your page?
The banana bread that I told you about, the blueberry banana bread, was really, really popular.
If you haven't seen it, oh my goodness, it's amazing.
Yeah, no, it did do really well. Tarts always do well. And I think, one of my most popular ones was just a flat lay of avocados. I did it such a long time ago, but they were really cute little baby avocados, and they had sesame seeds on.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, it's varied. Like on Instagram, you don't know, some pictures fly and you don't know why, and you know, but you just have to keep posting, keep experimenting, keep playing, and keep enjoying yourself. Like, don't feel pressured to do anything in a certain way, and you'll be surprised because naturally you'll pick up things over time if you're consistent.
And what's your community like? How do you, are you quite kind of close with your community? You come to your page?
Yeah, like I really do have a lot of friends there, and I love the community. I'm so grateful for them, because if they weren't there, then I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today. So that's why I always try and make an effort. If someone leaves me a comment, it's not always possible, but I do always try and get back to people. And I think that's really important, because I know when I started out and I only had 1,000 followers, if there was someone who had 10,000 followers leave a comment, I was like, wow, this is amazing. And I just think we should all support each other, because social media is such a huge place, but there is room for all of us. It's not a competition. Everyone's in their own lane, and we can all encourage and support each other. And I've got a lot of friends on Instagram that have helped me. So if I want to chat about publishing deals or props or anything, I can reach out to them. So community is really important, because it helps me learn as a photographer as well.
And would you say, because obviously, because Instagram is sort of a place where people, it's quite a desirable kind of job, and a lot of people do kind of, they don't perhaps get their followers in quite the most natural of ways. I mean, it's, I mean, how important is it for you to kind of grow that following naturally?
It's really important, because I just think if you're paying for followers or likes, then how can you be actually satisfied with your work? I would rather post a picture and it do terrible, and then I know that's a terrible picture. It's not nice. People didn't like it, because I can learn something from it. Whereas if I posted something that looks really bad and I've paid for likes, you don't really know how your work's being received. So it's important to just be authentic, be real, communicate with other people, and it will grow organically in time.
Yeah, and I think that's that sort of misconception that people feel like, oh, anyone just kind of posts up whatever, and like if I got enough followers or, like enough likes on these pictures, then naturally other people will just like it as well, because people are sheep. And actually I think that people are quite astute, and especially now with Instagram, people are very, they're very, honed in on exactly what they want. And if you're not delivering what they want, then they're not interested.
Exactly. And it has to be authentic. I think people can tell if you're trying to copy exactly someone else. Of course, there's always going to be an element of, oh, I've seen this picture and I like that and I'm going to do it in my style. But if you're copying an exact style because you think it's going to get you likes, I can tell a mile off in a picture if it's like that. So it's really important that you're authentic to who you are and you leave your own personal stamp on it in some way. So like for me, I've got my heart spoons, or I always like using linen. So lots of little things you can do that will just make it yours.
So would you say you've made a lot of friends on Instagram, like real friends in real life?
Yeah, definitely. I really have, and some of them I WhatsApp them and we voice note each other like every day, which is really cool because they're on the other side of the world.
That's so cool, because also you're kind of, you're at home, and like working from home on your own can be a bit...
Yeah, so I can meet other weirdos like me who are just covered in food and making a mess, which is great because I'm not on my own.
Oh, amazing. Well, look, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
For coming and joining us. And honestly, this is incredible.
Oh,
I'm so inspired.
You.
If only I could cook, I would be a threat, but I can't. So I think your Instagram is safe.
I'll send you some leftovers. Don't worry, I got you.
No, it's on stream now. Like, you absolutely have to. Like, FedEx me the tarts.
I warned you. Get ready.
Good job. Great. Well, thank you so much. It's been utterly fascinating.
Thank you so much. I loved it.
I know you guys at home have been really, really enjoying it, and it's the end of our session tonight. So yeah, thank you again so much for coming and joining us, and we've all learned so much from you. It's been wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And thanks again to everyone at home who tuned in. And we hope to see you again soon. So enjoy the rest of your evening. I'm going to, because I'm going to finally get to taste these beautiful tarts. See you next time.
Thank you.